Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I can't tell you that we didn't know this day was coming, but honestly, it really did surprise me. The sting of this one really isn't the same as the first time it happened when he walked out of WWE way back in 2014. But AEW has released CM Punk. CM Punk, I guess, is proved that he's not bigger than wrestling. He's not bigger than AEW. That they feel like almost like the monster that he became once he got there. It just surprises me. I knew that he thought a lot of himself. I knew that, his whole time in WWE, he felt that he should be the main event of WrestleMania. He didn't get. He had the huge title run, but he really wasn't looked at as like the main star of the company at that time because of guys like, John Cena and the emergence of Roman Reigns. Man, it's almost like he thought he ran AEW like he was the owner. And I really appreciate that he came back. I think that he came back as AEW with the right idea. I felt that he came back for the right reasons. It just didn't work out. And he had one hell of a run at the very beginning. His comeback was huge. Everybody who's ever watched wrestling, anybody that, sort of tuned in during his time in WWE, it seemed like for one night, even if it was only one night, turned into AEW to watch his return there in Chicago. And, it sort of slowly fizzled away, and that wasn't AEW's fault. That wasn't CM Punk's fault. I think it just, maybe wrestling doesn't mean as much to a lot of people as it did at one point in their life. But, you look at the things he did, match with Moxley, really, really great stuff that he did with MJF. He got MJF ready for the spot that MJF is right now, being the champion, wrestling in the main events. That dog collar match, I don't think I've seen a match like that in wrestling in a long time. That was one that I really cared about. That was really, really good. But, where he goes from here, I really hope that he still helps out heels. His role in Season 2 is definitely a lot bigger than it was in Season 1. He doesn't really have a lot of speaking roles. He's around in the locker room, in scenes a lot. I know that his job on that show is kind of like to watch over the wrestling, to make sure it looks real, to make sure it looks crisp. But it seems like now he's almost like a real character. He's not just like sitting there on the set watching those things. They actually put him out there. And that's a really, really good show. I know people at my work that watch that show that they're not even wrestling fans. But I think that CM Punk's days in wrestling is done. I think that he's too big to do like a straight independent shot. I don't think there's any chance in hell that he gets a run back in WWE. I think it's over. I think that he'll find, the extra things that he found to do, whether if that was, helping with comic books. I think that was with Marvel for a time being. I think that he'll definitely sell his shirts with Pro Wrestling Tees and, bring money in that way. And it's just a shame. It makes me think about the whole thing with him and Cabana, where this whole thing blew up, with them, figuring out that they weren't friends anymore, and then going after him, exposing that he shares a checking account with his mother, and a whole bunch of, random shit about them not really being friends. But, it makes me think, how many other, friendships out there has, really blown up. He just seems like a guy who doesn't admit that he's wrong, I guess you could say. Or maybe even accept an apology. I go back to like a U-shoot, I believe it was with Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle tells a story where him and CM Punk weren't friends anymore because of the fact that he used him to get the phone number of a girl, and it got back to CM Punk that was, what he was doing. And he cut him off after that point. And that's kind of a weird thing, just to, cut off one of your friends because you gave him a girl's phone number. I don't know if it was like maybe a celebrity or just a girl. maybe a girl in WWE. I'm not really sure. But the way Swoggle told the story was, he felt really bad about it. He apologized, but it just never was the same after that spot. So, and it's nuts. It's crazy, especially with All In. Is it All In or All Out? This is All Out weekend in Chicago, and he's being released. There's a lot of jokes out there online right now. The Survivor Series is in Chicago, and maybe he can make his return there. I would bet all the money I have that we never see him again. WWE, AEW, just, I don't know. I mean, you remember what Rollins said about him a couple of years ago about, he just was not a guy people wanted around the locker room. Just doesn't make sense.